My name is Alfonso Severos, and this is the Peripheral View. Peripheral View is my weekly doc series that addresses those issues on the edge of the news. Prior to being elected, and as part of his campaign promise, President Biden spoke about forgiving student debt. Now that he's in office, he's still talking about it, but a little differently. You have progressives like Bernie Sanders and Ocasio, the congresswoman from New York, who wants total forgiveness, wiping out student debt and interest completely. However, Biden is not willing to forgive total debt. You have Senator Chuck Schumer and Senator Elizabeth Warren, who are today talking about forgiving up to $50,000 plus interest of each student debt. And they justify it, that it can be justified and done by executive action under the Higher Educational Act. $50,000 per student. Well, Biden is not willing to do that. President Biden is proposing to forgive $10,000 per student only. He's also proposing to make community colleges free and to make state schools, four-year state colleges, like whether it's the State University of New York or Michigan State or Ohio State, free for families making $125,000 or less. That's the Biden plan. Now, student debt impacts 43 million Americans. 43 million. And disproportionately, the impact is greater among black and brown people. If pressure can be put on President Biden to accept the $50,000 student debt limit, then we can see that will begin to close the racial wealth gap. It would have a significant impact on that, and it will benefit a major portion of that population if the forgiveness amount is $50,000 as opposed to $10,000, and that would definitely stimulate the economy. And why 50,000? Why Senator Warren and Senator Schumer picked the $50,000? Because for them, that, according to their research, that would have the greater impact on the maximum number of people. 1/3 of the population, 1/3 of the 43 million people who have student debt owe $10,000 or less. And this group is usually made up of people who went to school 1 semester, 2 semesters, 1 year, never graduated. And so they are working in jobs in which the qualifications is a high school diploma, yet they're carrying college student debt. And the debt interest ratio is set so that it keeps accumulating. So one third of the people's debt are for folks who have $10,000 or less in debt. That's 43 million people who have student debt. Has a total of $1.7 trillion. $1.7 trillion. So you can begin to realize how eliminating that $1.7 trillion, if we were to eliminate it altogether, could impact the economy, could impact this idea of credit scores, and stimulate growth, specifically among black and brown individuals. And because the data tells us, if we look at student debt, black students who graduate from the college and graduate school averages $52,000 in debt. And when you start adding interest, they'll end up paying $80,000, $90,000. White students who graduate from a 4-year college and graduate school average $28,000. So there is a $25,000 difference between black and white students. I know everyone was happy that Joe Biden won the election, and that's because we wanted Donald Trump out. Excuse me. But we have to be realistic about Joe Biden's politics. I like Joe Biden, but he's a man, like Kamala Harris pointed out in the primary, that was against busing. He's a man that went out and pushed that crime bill. He have put together and supported legislation that have hurt black and brown people. You take that and you add to the fact that the only reason that man is in the office is because of the support of black and brown people. And if we know that black graduates both have a greater $25,000 more in debt on the average than white graduates, then we need to do something about that. Now, that's not even talking about the position in which many blacks have brought up, and that is forgiving student debt 100% for black students who graduated from historical black college. That's a separate issue. But this idea of forgiving only $10,000 is totally inadequate when the average black and brown person for undergraduate and graduate ends up with $52,000 in debt. This is an issue in which people need to contact their congressman, their senator, to let them know that they need to speak out to the president. And if you're not going to eliminate student loans 100%, then wipe out 50,000. Okay? If we bailed out banks, if we bailed out corporations, if we bailed out the auto industry, then there's no way in hell you can't bail out the education of our young people. That's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Remember to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Thank you.